السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. أيها الأحبة, we are continuing our lecture series regarding the scholars of Islam. We are continuing our lecture series regarding the scholars of Islam. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, فضل العالم على العابد كفضل القمر على سائر الكواكب. He says, the virtue of the scholar compared to the worshipper is like the virtue or the benefit of the full moon compared to the other stars. When there's a full moon, you cannot see the other stars. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he continues, he says, وَإِنَّ الْعُلَمَاء هُمْ وَرَثَةُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ. The scholars, they are the inheritors of the prophets. وَإِنَّ الْأَنْبِيَاءَ لَمْ يُوَرِّثُوا دِينَارًا وَلَا دِرْهَمًا وَإِنَّمَا وَرَّثُوا الْعِلْمَ فَمَنْ أَخَذَهُ أَخَذَ بِحَظٍ وَافِرٍ. And whoever takes from this inheritance of the prophets the knowledge has indeed taken a great share. And the people who have taken this inheritance of the prophets are the ulama, the scholars of Islam. We have taken a number of the greats of Islamic history, the greats of the scholars that many of us have heard of for the first time in our life. And tonight also we shall read or we shall learn together one of the greatest scholars of Islamic history, the imam of the people of Sham. These days when you watch news, you see the Muslims are capturing many areas in Syria and so on and so forth. Who is the greatest imam that has come from these lands of Sham? This is our lecture for tonight, the Imam Awzaee rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. Imam Ahmad narrates, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal al-Shaybani narrates that with his chain of narration, that Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah and Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah, they came to Imam Malik in Medina and they sat with Imam Malik. Thereafter, Imam Malik said to his students, one of them is more knowledgeable than the other, but is not fit to be a leader of the Muslims. The other one is more fit to be the leader of the Muslims. The scholar, they says, the one who is more knowledgeable is Imam Sufyan al-Thawri. And the one who's fit to be a leader of the Muslims, of entire Muslims, is this great Imam from the lands of Sham, the Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. Imam Malik rahimahullah, he says, al-Awza'i imamun yuqtada bih. That Awza'i is an Imam that people should follow. This is the great Imam Malik. He says to us Muslims that the Imam Awza'i is an Imam the Muslims should follow. Sufyan ibn Uyayna, he says that al-Awza'i Imam Muslimin. The Imam Awza'i is Imam of the Muslims. Abdullah Mubarak, he says the Imams are three: Sufyan al-Thawri in Kufa, Imam Malik in Medina, and al-Awza'i in Sham. So who is this great Imam that has been given this level that he has reached as Imam of the Muslims, one of the great Imams from the land of Sham? No scholar from Sham, from that date up to today, you can hardly mention just a few scholars who have reached such a high level of scholarship that have come from this part of the world, Sham. If you hear Sham, in English they call it the Levant. It's 4 countries. Sham is how many countries? 4 countries. What are those countries? Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Philistine. When you hear Sham, it is these 4 countries. Syria being the main one, Jordan, Philistine, and Lebanon. So the greatest scholar who has come from this part of the world is, or from that time, is Imam al-Awza'i. He has his own madhab that we mentioned before. We mentioned the people of Egypt, they have a scholar who has a madhab, Imam Layth ibn Sa'ad al-Fahmi. The people of Sham, al-Awza'i. The people of Medina, Imam Malik. The people of Makkah, Iraq and Egypt, Imam Shafi'i. The people of Iraq, they have Sufyan al-Thawri and Imam Abu Hanifa and other scholars we shall mention later. So this great Imam Ikhwani Fillah was born in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar. He was born in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says in the authentic hadith, خَيْرُ قُرُونِ قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. He says, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, the best generation of Muslims is my generation. Then the generation that comes thereafter, and then the generation that comes thereafter. These three generations are the best generation of the Muslims. The Imam Awzaee came from one of these three generations, the Atba' al-Tabi'een, the people who did not meet the Sahaba, but they met the Tabi'een. He was born in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar, in an area of the world called Lebanon. You've heard of Lebanon. He was born in a place called Ba'labak in Lebanon in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar. So he is a contemporary of Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, Imam Layth ibn Sa'ad, Imam Malik. They are all contemporaries. They come from the same decade. They were born about the same period of time. He lived through the entire period, or most of the period of the Umayyads, and through the periods of the Abbasid Empire. The Abbasids, they took over in the year 132 of the Hijri calendar. They revolted against the Umayyads, as we mentioned previously. And we shall mention tonight a very interesting story that happened between Imam al-Awza'i and the Abbasids when they took over in that bloody revolution of the year 132 of the Hijri calendar. So he was born in the year 88. If you look at Islamic history, that's the time of the Khalifa al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik. Thereafter came Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik. Then the great Imam of the Muslims that all of us should read his biography, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahimahullah, one of the greatest khulafa. There was no poverty, there was no sadaqah during the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Then came Yazid ibn Abdul Malik, then Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, then Walid ibn Yazid, then Yazid ibn Walid, Ibrahim ibn Walid, Marwan ibn Muhammad, Abu al-Abbas al-Saffah, then Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. He lived through all these khulafa. Born in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar in Ba'labak, and he died in the year 157 of the Hijri calendar. 157 minus 88 is how many years? The people who do maths, or you have a calculator. 157 minus 89. What you do is just take the 57, then what's 100 to 89? 100 minus 89 is 11. So 57 plus... or 100 minus 88 is 12. So 57 plus 12 is 69. So he lived for 69 years. He was born in Ba'labak in Lebanon. Ikhwani fillah, an orphan. He was also a yatim. His father died, he did not see his own father. The same way we've said most of the greats in Islamic history were orphans, beginning with our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Imam Bukhari, we mentioned before, he was an orphan. We mentioned, I think Imam Shafi'i was an orphan. We met many scholars in Islam history. Even later on we shall mention Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani and so on. Many scholars in Islamic history were orphans. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised these orphans, and more so because of the single mothers who took care of them. So he was born in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar in Lebanon, in Ba'labak. The mother sees the father is dead, so takes the son all the way to Damascus. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify it and to bring it back to the fold of the Muslims, the Ahl Sunnah. So he goes to Damascus and he lives in an area called Babul Faradis. This area, Babul Faradis, there was a Yemeni man from the tribe of Awzaee, from the tribe of Bani Hamdan, of the Qahtani tribe of Yemen. He had settled in this area, and this area became known by his name Al-Awzaee. Hence this Imam was known by the name Al-Awza'i. His full name, Ikhwani fillah, is Abu Amr Abdul Rahman ibn Yuhmid ibn Amr Abdullah Abdul Rahman ibn Amr ibn Yuhmid ibn Abd Amr al-Awza'i al-Shami rahimahullah rahmatan wasi'ah. He started seeking knowledge from the people of Sham. And Ikhwani fillah, he had the best Arabic. His Arabic and articulacy was very excellent. When he used to write letters, people used to try copying his letters because of the excellence in his Arabic language. So much so, the Khalifa Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, whenever he used to receive or find letters of Al-Awza'i, he used to tell his writers, reply to him in a similar manner. They say, the writers, amongst them Sulaiman ibn Makhlad, he says, Wallahi ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, la yaqdiru ahad an yatakallama bi kalamihi, or yaktuba bi kitabatihi. There's no one on the face of earth who can write the Arabic language like this man, Al-Awza'i rahimahullah. So he was a very excellent writer. He goes with the Mujahideen to the land of Yamama. As in a mosque, and he's writing letters, one of the scholars sees him. It's called Yahya ibn Abi Kathir. Yahya ibn Kathir looks at this young man, is really impressed with him, and says, my son, do not waste time with whatever you're doing, letters and such stuff. Study the fiqh and study the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So he studied under Yahya ibn Abi Kathir. who is one of the scholars of hadith. And he becomes the strongest narrator who narrates from Yahya ibn Abi Kathir. Thereafter, Yahya ibn Abi Kathir tells him, go to Basra. There's the great Imam Hassan al-Basri in Basra. Go to Basra. There's the great Imam Muhammad ibn Sirin in Basra. Go take knowledge from them before they pass away. So in the year 110 of the Hijri calendar, he goes all the way to Basra. When he reaches Basra, he's told, Hassan al-Basri passed away 2 months ago. Muhammad ibn Sirin is in his last days. He's very sick, he's going to die anytime. And he died shortly. So he did not manage to take knowledge from Hassan al-Basri and Muhammad ibn Sirin. And this is something that has happened many times in Islamic history. You find people, they have gone to take from a scholar, a person who's knowledgeable, and they find that person has already gone and has died, so they have to take knowledge from the students. And most, the most painful of all is that some people entered Medina on the 13th of Rabi'ul Awwal, the year 11 of the Hijri calendar. And they find the Prophet ﷺ had died yesterday. Only one day they will have become Sahaba. Only one day they will have beautified their eyes with the sight of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is a ni'mah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you. If you have ulama that are still with you, that are still in your ranks, try benefiting from them. Benefit from their knowledge, benefit from their character, benefit from their ibadah. You do not know when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring a musibah upon you, O Muslims, and you shall find that this ulama, they are left, and the ones who they die and the ones who remain are evil people, not upon the true character, the true way of the ulama. So he finds the ulama, those two alims have died, Hassan al-Basri and Muhammad ibn Sirin. So he takes knowledge from the Imam Qatada ibn Da'ama al-Sadusi, one of the scholars of tafsir. Then he goes to Kufa, he studies under the scholar of Kufa. He goes to Medina, he studies under Muhammad al-Baqir Abu Ja'far, the father of Ja'far al-Sadiq. And he goes to Ash-Sham and he studies under Imam al-Zuhri, who is the first one to compile the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, Muhammad ibn Shihab al-Zuhri rahimahullah, and other scholars from the land of Sham like Makhul and others. So he combined knowledge from the knowledge of Iraq, the knowledge of Hijaz, Haramain, and the knowledge even took from Ata ibn Rabah in Mecca, the knowledge of Haramain and the knowledge of Ash-Sham. He started teaching. From amongst his students, Sheikhs, Az-Zuhri took from him, Yahya ibn Abi Kathir took from him, Imam Malik took from him, and many of the scholars. In the year 113 of the Hijr calendar, when he was only 25 years of age, he started giving fatwa. He started giving fatwa. And he became a scholar of fiqh, renowned all over the world. Abu Ishaq al-Fazari, he says, in the year 140, there's no one on the face of earth who is more knowledgeable than Awzaee. This man, has a madhab that the Muslims were following in the land of Maghrib, the land of Andalus, and the land of Sham for a century or 2 centuries. You know the 4 madhabs that you all know, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi, and Ahmed. We mentioned before that there's the madhab of Imam Thawri, it went. The madhab of Imam Layth ibn Sa'd, it went. And this madhab of this Imam, also the greatest scholar of the land of Sham, Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah, also it went. He was a scholar who reached that pedigree or that level of having his own madhab. قال في الله هذا رجل كان عابدا زاهدا تقيا نقيا لا يخاف في الله لومة لائم. He used to be a worshipper of Allah Azza wa Jal. When he speaks to the people cry. In his gathering, thousands and thousands of people take from his knowledge and from his character. And when he speaks to them, everyone cries in his gatherings except him. But when he goes home, يخاني في الله كان يحيي ليله قياما. He used to spend his entire night in Qiyamul Layl, crying to Allah Azza wa Jal and beseeching him. So much so, another time, a lady from the family of the wife of Awza'i comes to the house of Awza'i. Then she finds the prayer place of Awza'i wet and says to the wife, rebuking her, ثقلتك أمك أراك غفلت عن بعد السبيان حتى بال في مسجد الشيخ. I see you have neglected your duties until your child or some of the children have urinated in the prayer place of the Sheikh. What's wrong with you, O woman? The wife could not hold it further. She said, ويحك, woe upon you, هكذا يصبح كل الصباح من أثر الدموع الشيخ في سجوده. هكذا يصبح كل الليلة من أثر الدموع الشيخ في سجوده. This is the state of the prayer place of the Imam. Every single night because of his crying to Allah Azza wa Jal. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, When was the last time you cried sincerely for Allah's sake? Don't cry in the mosque. Don't cry when the people see you. When is the last time you took a place, a private place, just between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in communication? خَرُّ سُجَّدًا وَبُكِيًّا, that you stand in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you prostrate to Him and you cry to your Lord and you sincerely beseech Him and you ask Him, oh Allah, forgive me, forgive my parents, and so on from your du'as. When was the last time? But this Imam كان يعرف ببكائه. In the year 132 of the Hijri calendar, the Abbasids, they launched their revolution. They said the Umayyads are gone corrupt. Number two, the Khalifa must be from the Ahl al-Bayt, from the family of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, not from the rest of the Quraysh. They must be from the Ahl al-Bayt. And they launched the revolution from the lands of Iraq and Iran and so on, with the hand of Al-Khurasani, Abu Muslim Al-Khurasani. And in Kufa, Abu Saffah, Abu Abbas al-Saffah. So they launched this bloody revolution. They find any Umayyad, they kill them. You are a governor, you're a child, you're 13 years old, 14 years old, you have reached puberty, they kill you. So they massacred so many Muslims. One of their uncles, the uncles of the Khalifa, the first Khalifa of the Abbasids, is called Abdullah ibn Ali. He comes to Damascus, the capital city of Damascus, the capital city of Syria. So he comes to Damascus in the year 132 of the Hijri calendar. And in 6 hours, he massacres 38,000 Muslims. Why? Because they are associated or affiliated to the former ruling family, the Umayyads. 38,000. Then he enters the Grand Mosque, the Grand Umayyad Mosque, the great mosque in Damascus. It's a very big mosque. He enters with his horses in the Grand Umayyad Mosque. And he says with arrogance, who will challenge me? Who will rebuke me? Who will dare speak a single word against me? The people of Damascus said, no one. No one will speak anything. You've already done your crimes upon humanity, but only one person definitely will speak. The Imam Awzaee definitely will speak against what you have done. Call him. I dare him to speak. So a rider is sent, go bring Awzaee. Awzaee is wondering, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This person has done all these crimes and is asking for me. Wallah, he wants to do something evil. Says, oh messenger, give me a short time, let me enter the bathroom. So he enters the bathroom, he takes a bath. He takes wudu. He knows that this is his last bath and wudu. At the time he is assuming that. And he puts on his shroud, his kafan. The Muslims, every Muslim used to have in your house, your kafan, you're ready, you have your own kafan. Not these days you wait for the mosque. Can I get from this mosque? Those days everyone used to have their shroud ready. So he puts on his shroud, he puts on the hanut and all the perfumes, and he wears his thobe and he wears his amama. And he goes to the Grand Mosque to meet this murderer, Abdullah ibn Ali. Imam al-Dhahabi says about Abdullah ibn Ali, he says, كان مالكا جبارا سفاكا للدماء. Says that this man was a dictator. He was a person who spills blood easily. So he enters the gathering, it's a very frightful sight. Abdullah ibn Ali, the uncle of the Khalifa, is sitting on his throne. Next to him, on the right side and on the left side, are dozens of soldiers, all of them having the sword ready. Next to the leader, to that Abdullah ibn Ali, they have already kept the mat that is special for execution. They have a mat, a leather mat or so, specially kept for executions. So when you're executed, your blood, your insides and those fluids and everything, they're gathered in one place and they can be disposed of thereafter. So that's the gathering. He sees the swords are risen up. So he comes, and this guy is not even paying attention to him. He has a stick that he's writing on the ground. Says, Anta Awzaee. Are you Awzaee? He says, yes, I am Awzaee. Says, all these things we have done so far, don't you think it's jihad? Imam Awzaee doesn't know what to say. He says, you're asking me if all this, you've killed Muslims, and you're asking me if it's jihad. He doesn't know what to say. So he says, حدثنا يحيى الأنصاري think it was Yahya ibn Ibrahim al-Ansari, عن محمد التيمي عن علقم بن أبي وقاص عن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته للدنيا يصيبها أو لامرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. Everyone's acts are based on the intention, based on this hadith. So if your intention was jihad, you know it best, you'll answer to Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the answer he gave him. Then he says the second question. This blood that we have spilled, today I've killed 38,000 people. And you see here next to me, there are like 70 people I've killed right now. You can see their bodies here. What do you say about this blood that I have spilled? Says, حدثنا فلان عن فلان عن فلان عن عبد الله بن مسعود رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يحل دم امرئ مسلم إلا بإحدى الثلاث الثيب الزاني والنفس بالنفس وتارك دينه المفارق للجماعة. Says, this hadith of Prophet ﷺ says that the blood of a Muslim is not halal except for 3 conditions. If it's a person who's committed adultery and they were previously married, if the person who killed someone else and that act of revenge is done, and if a person leaves the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. These are the only 3 periods. So if you have killed these people based on these 3, then you're okay. If you have killed them for any other reason, that's between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. He's speaking this brave. He has said, I look at this man, then I remember the throne of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this man became like a cat, like a fly, nothing in importance. So I will say the truth regardless of my life. He's ready, he's already put in shroud, he knows he's going to die. I'm going to speak, even if it's my last days, let me speak the truth. And that is what the scholars are supposed to do. A scholar should always stand with the truth, even if they're going to be thrown in prison, even if they're going to be expelled, even if they're going to be executed, they should always stand and keep the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, number 1, not the fear of the ruler. The ruler will rule, yes, for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, however long it is, but the rule will end. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask you. So number 3, he asks him, what about this wealth and property we have taken from the Umayyads? Is it halal for us? Awzaee looks at him and says, if it was halal for them, property that was halal, it was theirs halal way, then it's haram for you to take something that was halal for them. It's their property, it's not yours. And if it was haram for them to take it, then for you it is even more haram. So both conditions, both situations, it is haram for you. He says, looks at him. Says, please go away, I'm afraid of you. He's massacred 38,000 people. But when this alim stands up with the glory of Islam, with that audacity, I fear no one except Allah Azza wa Jal. I am ready to sacrifice for the deen and for the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. You can't fear anyone. Keep your deen number 1. So he leaves. Abdullah ibn Ali sends a rider and a messenger, gives him money, gives him gold coins, 200 gold coins, and tells him, please take it, otherwise the governor will use it as a reason to harm you and harm fellow Muslims. So Awzaee takes that money and he gives it all to the widows, the orphans, the fuqara, the masakin, and does not have even a single dinar entering his house. These are the events of the year 132 of the Hijri calendar. The Prophet ﷺ says, the greatest act of jihad, the greatest jihad is kalimatul haqq inda sultanin jair, is to say the truth to an oppressive leader. You see that leader is a Fir'aun, is a harm to the Muslims. You say the truth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the highest level of it's a great act of ibadah. So Ikhwani fillah, this imam was born in the year 88 of the Hijr calendar. He passed away rahimahullah in the year 157 of the Hijr calendar. He leaves Damascus and says, let me go spend my last days in Lebanon, in Beirut, where I can fight the Crusaders. So I can spend my time defending the borders of the Muslims, because the borders of the Muslims were very close to the borders of the Christians at the time there, the Byzantine Empire. Let me go and defend the lands of the Muslims. So he goes murabitan fi sabilillah to Beirut. As he's going to Beirut, he passes a grave and a lady is next to the grave and asks the lady, Ayn al-Ma'mura, where is the developed area? She says to him, the developed area is here. This grave is the developed area. If you want the area that's destroyed, the city of Beirut, you can go on ahead. So you have to build this grave, which is your true asset. Yes, sometimes we focus a lot. Let us buy land in South Sea, 100 by 50. Let's go to Karen, buy half an acre. Let's go to other areas, buy an acre, 100 acres, 50 acres. But your true worth or true property is that 2 meters by half a meter. 1 meter square that you will be buried in Langata or Karioko. That is your true property that you should develop. I measured it, 2 meters by half a meter. 2 meters times 0.5 is 1 square meter. Not this 1,000 square meters or 2,000 square meters, which is half an acre, or 4,000 square meters, which is an acre, and so on and so forth. So we should focus on that. So he goes to Beirut, Fillah. His wife loved this man so much. When he was 69, Fillah, it's a very cold day. So the wife says, I'll make for you, I'll prepare your bath. So she prepares a bath for the Imam Awzaee, rahimahullah. And the Imam Awzaee goes to the bathroom. And the lady says, it's very cold, let me put for you some jiko or some charcoal or some, what is it called? Like in English it's called a jiko is called in English? A stove, like a charcoal stove, yes? So she puts a charcoal stove in the bathroom. Those bathrooms used to be like a jacuzzi, like a hammam. This would be called it's a big place. So she keeps there. Then she leaves the bathroom, and because it's cold, she locks the door. Thereafter that charcoal, suddenly it starts flaming, the flames become intense and the smoke becomes a lot. So the Imam starts finding it difficult to breathe with that carbon monoxide and so on. So he tries reaching for the door is locked. The wife has gone to do her business as she waits for the husband to finish his bath. So the Imam breathes his last in the year 157, and the wife comes shortly thereafter. Why is my husband taking so long? She opens the door, and the husband, the Imam Awzaee, rahimahullah, had passed away as he was taking his bath, and he died in a state of sujood. He died in a state of sujood. Whoever lives upon a state will die upon that state, inshaAllah, and will be resurrected upon that state. On the day of Qiyamah, such an Imam or such a person who died in a state of sujood shall be resurrected in a state of sujood. A man came to Sufyan al-Thawri, the great Imam from Kufa, who was a contemporary or the same period with Imam Awzaee, and says to him, رأيت في المنام أن ريحانة رفعت من أرض الشام. I've seen in a dream that a beautiful smelling plant, a rayhana, has been lifted from the land of Asham. Says, Wayhak, woe upon you, what are you saying? Says, I have seen a rayhana be lifted up from the land of Sham. Says, if you're saying the truth, then the Imam Awzaee, rahimahullah, has indeed passed away. A few days later, is informed that Imam Awzaee, he passed away, and it was the same exact moment that this man saw that dream. So, Fillah, this is one of the greatest scholars of Islamic history that few of us know of. The Imam Awzaee, rahimahullah, Abdurrahman, Abu Amr, is known as Abu Amr Awzaee, Abu Amr, Abdurrahman, ibn Amr, ibn Yuhmid, ibn Abi Amr Awzaee, rahimahullah, born in Ba'labak in the year 88 of the Hijri calendar. He passed away in the city of Beirut, or outskirts of Beirut. It's part of Beirut right now. Before it was not part of Beirut, in the year 157 of the Hijri calendar. This is one of the greatest scholars of Islam. Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he says, I have not seen of any scholar whose fiqh matches with the hadith that narrates more so than Imam Awzaee. Imam Yahya ibn Ma'in, he says, the scholars are four: Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Sufyan al-Thawri, and Imam Awzaee, rahimahumullah, rahmatan wasi'ah. This is one of the greatest scholars of Islamic history that we have learned of tonight. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we shall look at other scholars. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.